But the RBI in its annual report for FY24 says that despite various global headwinds, India looks well placed to step up its growth trajectory over the next decade. Ritu joins in with details. Ritu.
Well, Sonia, yes, very gung-ho on the outlook for growth from this RBI annual report. But a quick word on that bumper surplus that RBI transferred to the government that has been the talk for a while. And now we have the reason why we saw this huge surplus. And that largely has to do with the much lower expenditures that we saw from the Reserve Bank of India's balance sheet for FY24 compared to the previous year, and that was because of lower provisions that last year, primarily on account of the forex assets. So that is why RBI was able to provide this 2.11 lakh crore kind of a surplus to the government this year. Now, apart from that, of course, on the outlook for the economy, the RBI says the outlook for FY25 is brightening, although it does express concerns when it comes to inflation trajectory, largely because of the uncertainty in the food price inflation. It says the real GDP growth outlook is solid on the back of a good investment demand and a pickup in consumption demand as well. It says geopolitical tensions, fragmentation, the commodity price fluctuations and erratic weather development. These are some of the risks that could derail the growth and the inflation trajectory as well. There's lots of interesting data, across this annual report, but I'd like to point out what it says on frauds. Very interestingly, the number of frauds that have been reported in FY24, increased almost 3 times in terms of volumes compared to FY23, but in terms of value, it has come down by almost half. So there were 36,075 frauds that were reported in FY24 compared to 13,564 in the year before. And in terms of value, it has fallen down to 13,930 crores in the year from 26,127 in the year before. Most of these frauds in the last 3 years are largely coming from the private banks, much more than the public banks in terms of volumes. Most of them also in the digital space, specifically with credit cards and, internet banking and so on. In terms of group-wise, the lowest amount of frauds, like I said, has come, of course, from foreign banks as well. So, what is important also is to note that while the fraud reported for the year in terms of volume may be higher, not all of the frauds occurred in FY24. There's a significant lag with RBI saying that nearly 90% of the frauds that were reported this year came from the past years. So keeping all of that in mind, of course, are not very alarming figures overall and very bullish, of course, on the economic outlook.
All right, Ritu, thanks so much for giving us all those important details.